And it's a story coming in just a few minutes. The case against former Bosasa officials has been postponed to July. This is pending the outcome of its liquidation appeal at the Supreme Court of Appeal. eNCA's Lirandzu Themba is following the story, and she joins us live now from Pretoria. Lirandzu, good morning to you. So just to flesh out the details for us of this very short court proceedings.
Well, Chloe, I think it's safe to say that it is the NPA letting us know that they're not only just going for individuals, but also the companies that have benefited from these alleged misappropriation of about 1.6 billion rand with regards to tenders of Bosasa. What we are seeing and what we've heard in the court this morning is the fact that there are three companies that are said to be added on the charge sheet, that mainly being Bosasa, Sondolo IT, as well as Phezulu Fencing. It's also very important to note that Bosasa obviously entered into a voluntary liquidation, but that case has now is before the appeals court, and this court is hoping that that process will be concluded before the 5th of July. And also, it's important to note that Phezulu Fencing has been deregistered, and just speaking to an attorney outside court earlier on, explaining to journalists gathered outside that if a company is deregistered, it's very impossible to bring them before the courts and before the law unless it is re-registered. But what is more important to note is the fact that the court, this court rather, is waiting for that process to unfold before the appeals court in Bloemfontein, and they're hoping that is going to wrap up before the 5th of July, when Agrizzi, as well as Van Tonder, Gillingham, and of course Lirandzu, the former Correctional Services Commissioner, are due back in the dock.
Lirandzu, at the same time, one can't shake the feeling that the prosecuting authority here is possibly playing for time to gather its evidence properly, because they certainly, the timing that they brought these charges against the Bosasa and former correctional services officials, it was very interesting because it was just possibly a day, if not on the same day, that the State of the Nation address was about to be delivered by President Ramaphosa, and therefore many people saying that this is him trying to show himself up in Parliament so that when he stands up there, he is believed when he talks about issues of corruption. Talk to us about just how confident the prosecuting authority is, and in particular the Hawks, Lirandzu. I can't not recall Mulaudzi speaking to you after that court process, talking very confidently about how solid their case is.
Well, the Hawks are very confident that they have things going for them. In fact, they're saying it's better now than ever, alluding to the fact that it's taken them about 8 years to investigate the alleged misappropriation within Bosasa and all the companies that we've mentioned earlier on, saying that it is after thorough probing that has resulted in them, just pinpointing the sort of individuals that have been brought before the courts. But also, it's very important to note, Polly, is that we did see the marathon 9 days of, Agrizzi testimony that took place at the Zondo Commission in January. And of course, we know that these arrests or these indictments were served just after that explosive testimony by Agrizzi. And yes, you're right. It is also particular at the time when the president was about to deliver his State of the Nation address, obviously raising a lot of eyebrows as to the timing of these arrests. But of course, this has not deterred the NPA, neither has it deterred the Hawks, of them saying that they believe that they have really just crossed their T's and dotted their I's. And they are also confident that if they're going to go after these companies, they're quite convinced that these companies did gain somewhat from these alleged misappropriation when the 4 individuals that were before the courts were being, accused of or charged of. And we know that those charges ranging from corruption as well as money laundering.
Lirandzu, just finally then, talk to me about whether or not the issue of Angelo Agrizzi possibly returning this week to the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, whether that was a consideration at all in front of the court?
Well, we know that the 4 suspects, including Angelo Agrizzi, their 20,000 rand bail is still fixed. They still do not have possession of their travel documents, their passports. But it was quite interesting. He was talking to a colleague of his in court, but rather loudly, because I was able to hear just sitting behind him, saying that, oh, are they aware that I'm going to be, going back to the Zondo Commission tomorrow, hoping that his bail is extended. So, of course, that's in jest on my part, but it is something that he did say today. We know that he is due back in that commission, and I guess there's a sigh of relief on his end that that bail has been extended. However, we know that he has been limited with regards to his travel arrangements. He is not going to be allowed to leave the country. If he does, he'll have to get special permission from the law enforcement. But he seemed, I would say, quite confident and quite excited that he is once again going to be before the Zondo Commission, where we know that he really did deliver blowing testimony about the sort of shoddy dealings that was happening, really implicating senior government officials, ministers, talking about how a lot of them were paid in bribes and cash bribes, how many of them had their homes built to their taste, Oli. And of course, we know that some of them also gained allegedly gained in the benefits of corruption by even going on holiday at the expenses of corruption. So I guess we'll be looking forward to seeing Agrizzi again on that Zondo Commission stand.
Live outside the Pretoria Commercial Crimes Court, Lirandzu Themba giving us an update on that court appearance.